What's going on, everybody? And welcome to Geopolitics with Tyberius D. Today we're going to be talking about if the Russians are going to invade Ukraine, which we talked about at the beginning of the year. So, yeah, we're back to square one again. Why do you all keep doing this to me? I hate you. Alright, so I've been debating on doing this video, and I've particularly been debating on how much details I'm going to put into this. Here's the situation thus far. Back in April, I think, everyone was talking about, the Russians sending a shitload of forces to the Ukrainian border. That was true. We covered that in pretty good detail. So feel free to check out that. I might even card it, so check out check out the cards if it's there. Anyway, it was, got people into a tizzy, but, normal military exercises from what it looked like, and, things went back to normal. But more recently, the Russians have been doing a lot more of what they call covert operations. Correction. It's been more covert deployments, and that what it is that, things are moving at night, the inlet traffic's been a little different, and the order of battle is a lot harder to really pick out as far as, is it this entire army that's here? Is it this corps? Did this division just disappear? What the hell's going on? Here's the problem. A lot of the rhetoric, from what I've seen, is very, very akin to what we heard back in April. So I'm not, ready to jump on board that the Russians are going to invade Ukraine. However, the actions are quite a bit different here. When the Washington and company largely has been going, hey, Ukraine, get ready, because they're doing stuff that usually premeditates a real invasion, they're not entirely wrong. Here's the other side of this. I don't think the Russians are going to act without, basically scaring the bejesus out of everybody in that they already are in the process of doing something. And, look at 2014 as an example. Not a lot of people were talking about it. It was a bit of a surprise, bam, happens, right? I think that's what the Russians are really looking for and going for, and the fact that I think what probably happened here is that they did deploy forces, and I don't know if they were actually going to invade Ukraine, but they deployed forces, or forward deployed them, to staging areas and operating areas, and they basically were looking to see if the West would pick up on it, and if they would sound the alarm bell. So far they have. So far they noticed, they have, way to go. And that's probably due to the massive apparatus of the American intelligence agencies, not along with, a couple other people that probably picked up on it, maybe even tipped off Washington a little bit. That's absolutely within game, right? That's absolutely probably what happened. Now, are the Russians going to go bonsai anyway? Really hard for me to believe that. They haven't really been pushing the Donetsk and Luhansk regions to the degree that I would expect them to if they're really committed. It seems to me that overall is what they're really doing is that they're just trying to throw a couple knives in the a couple knives out there just to see who pays attention, and moreover just keep a level of combat expertise going. Now, me and Colonel Dan had a wonderful chat on this with CTV's channel, and I was actually able to pull the audio. But that might not be out for the better part of a week, because I'm going on vacation, and if I've got all my stuff lined out, I'll have a whole series of videos that is going to be coming out while I'm on vacation that will happen before that. But in the event that I don't get that done, you'll see that while I'm on vacation here in the next couple of days after this. And so, in a long story short, is that you'll be able to hear that conversation. You'll get all the breakdowns as far as why I'm a little bit more hesitant, why he thinks it's absolutely a go-ahead. He raises some really good points. The Russians will absolutely fight for Ukraine, and they will do so to keep your NATO flag off of Ukraine. The problem is that, in a nutshell, I don't think the Ukrainians are going to be able to join. I don't think anyone's going to let them join. And the Russians will literally invade the day of if they were found out. But I don't think the Russians are ready to just bonsai into the region because they already took a massive economic hit in 2014, and putting anything further would be a problem. That being said, I'm hearing a lot of different things out of Washington, whether it's like Biden held fast against Putin, or basically that the Americans are openly telling the Ukrainians to cede sections of eastern Ukraine off to the Russians. So let me parse this out and let me tell you what I think is going on here. And at least from my perspective, I think that Washington probably doesn't care on that all that much, and it's a great way to look at. It's a great way to bolster, but I don't think that Washington is willing to back the Ukrainians in any way, shape, or form, even under the Biden administration, which I bet Biden really has some like old grudges from the Cold War, where he's just like, hey, look here, you commie bastard. But I think in reality is that this is no longer the American purview, and this is part of that creeping isolationism that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Is that if you're basically not China, or you're not a definitive threat to the United States writ large, is that the Americans no longer really care. And so, will the Russians go anyway? I don't think they need to. I think they can wait. We're seeing a more protracted disengagement at literally year on year on year as the United States, goes into this more isolationist-centric worldview. And I think it's absolutely within the Russian interest just to bide their time and to wait. Now, obviously I could be wrong. This video could come out and the day after, Moscow sends tanks into Ukraine. But I don't think this is going to be the case. Their demography screwed them over to the point where the Russian forces are significantly smaller than what they were. If they have an army, it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 450,000 people. It's not the 1.1 million that they claim to have. Now that is both good and bad. It's good in the fact that they've got some newer munitions and weapons that they can actually, go to town with if they wanted to. But one, are they practiced with it? Two, do they have their new doctrine in place? Three, do they have enough of it to even equip their frontline, mobile units? Is the 98th Motor Rifle Division, is that ready to go? Is it loaded out with all the new the IFVs and AFVs? Don't know. Is the new Technologia Division, which is basically their tank divisions, are they ready to go? Do they have enough T14s to go in and correct face, or are they still largely running with T90 MS, which are still pretty good tanks? Don't get me wrong. The real issue here is that, number one, the Russian doctrine is in the process of changing. They started that with Georgia. They moved on into a little bit of that with 2014. And anyway, the long story short, at least for what I'm saying, is that they know they have serious command and control issues, and they've been trying to pull it down in their officer corps, where instead of you've got 3-star and 2-star generals making decisions across the board, is that you're going to have colonels and majors making decisions, particularly on the brigade level. Particularly on the battalion level and the brigade level is kind of what the West does already. And so we're going to see if the Russians have been able to reorient their doctrine and their command and control systems to do that, if they were going to do. And I don't think they're ready. They've proven that when they do engage that they've been incredibly slow. Now, Dan did say that they need to be able to prove themselves, and this is one of those times where they might have to feel the calling that they need to show the world, the powers that be, that they can operate in a modern battlefield space. Well, number one, Ukraine isn't the best people to really play practice with, unless you just want to show that you can go full ham on them. Ukraine can't stand up to the Russians. And so the real deal is how much of a blowout is it going to be? Is the Russians highly trained, highly proficient, and literally just sweep? Or is it a grueling slog? And we've seen Russian history many, many times. We keep expecting sweeps, and we see grueling slogs where, the people who inhabit there are outnumbered and outgunned, and they still give the Russians a bloody nose. Whether it was Finland back in the Winter War, whether it was more or less Germany during World War II. Afghanistan and Georgia was pretty much a sweep. But what we've definitely seen consistently over and over again is, Ukraine, Russia is kind of a mess. Really is. But yeah, I'm gonna stake my flag here. I don't expect the Russians to invade. A lot of people are, so we'll see who's right. Right? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time I was wrong, but I'm gonna with my guns on this one. I'm gonna make the claim. I don't think they're gonna hit it. So that largely answers that question. Is there anything else I want to add on to? Oh yeah, one of the big things that people are talking about is it's not actually to the West that the Russians want to prove that they're competent, it's to the Chinese. I think the alliance that they've been building out over the last 2 years in particular, but more since Biden was elected, I think that alliance is really kind of showing that the Russians and the Chinese have largely put aside their differences. Russia's going to focus on particularly Europe and the Turks, and China's going to particularly work on the East Asian sphere, particularly the Indo-Pacific. So that works as ground to the balance of power, and yeah, I'm not too terribly concerned about Chinese-Russian relations crashing. I would love to see it happen, don't get me wrong, because that would actually do the West a significant amount of favor. But in reality here is that it looks like the East is putting themselves together into the ultimate alliance that they originally never wanted to do. So yeah, I think that we're in for far more of a longer haul, and if the Chinese do have anything to say about it, they're going to tell the Russians, like, wait, slow down, modernize your stuff, practice more, we're doing drills together, bigger and bigger drills. We can do this as a unified front, if you're going to work on this, we're going to work on this, and we can do it at the same time. We can, divide and conquer. So, yeah, plenty of reasons to why this is absolutely something that, we can talk about, but I just don't see what the media is largely saying. I think this is just another hype blast. Without further ado, I've been Tyberius D. Catch you later.